need every last bit of information available.
In the world of The Witcher 3, things aren't always as they seem. When the game is predictable, sending you off to help another supermodel mage out of a bind, it's a bland, boilerplate RPG. However, when its writers pull out the stops and turn boring fantasy convention on its head, it tells some of the most memorable, nuanced stories we've seen in a game for years. With beautiful locales that ooze history and life, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt shines as one of the most impressive RPGs ever released. Perhaps the game's biggest achievement is how willing we were to overlook its gameplay flaws. Your progress is often hampered by clunky climbing controls and a horse that likes to stop dead for no reason. Fall damage is incredibly punishing, and the minimap route indicator that guides you to quests tends to glitch out. And yet, exploring the worlds of The Witcher 3 is still an absolute treat. Every location in the game's extensive environments feels well stitched together. A healthy cast of NPCs adds liveliness to each settlement, while hidden treasures and roaming monsters give the wider landscape its own character. The fast travel system too is smart. You can jump between signposts you discover, but only from post to post. The game won't let you teleport from anywhere, thus avoiding the pitfall of becoming just a series of loading screens. On a more polished note, the bread and butter of the combat is fantastic. Despite a few cheap monster tactics largely involving predictable teleport moves and health regeneration, fights are slick, variable, and genuinely challenging. You've got a good variety of dodges, spells, bombs, poisons, and other goodies to put to use, and different foes require very different tactics to fight. Spamming the attack button won't cut it, and that focus on thinking your way through a fight is incredibly welcome. Sadly, the game's mounted battles are worse than awful, but they're also largely optional, and more than made up for by the bigger monster fights. No matter what fantasy beast you're hunting down, learning its weaknesses in the game's bestiary before going toe-to-toe remains entertaining time and time again. The art design is top-notch here too, aside from the questionable practicality of some of the female characters' outfits. Seriously, who sword fights in heels? You'll encounter the odd set of armour that overlaps awkwardly with a given hairdo, or a texture loading slowly, but those flaws are outweighed by a wealth of excellent facial animations, beautiful, colourful locations, and awesomely gross monsters.
Made a mistake coming to this town then.
You're making the mistake. Leave him alone.
From start to finish, the huge body of content the game offers remains grounded in the gritty texture of its world. When it reflects on the human stories of that world, The Witcher 3 shines, the best elements of all of its gameplay systems and design coming together to suck you into a complex story. When it focuses on generic fetch quests and tired old tropes, the jagged edges start to show. It's got its fair share of flaws, much like any game of this scope, but in many respects, The Witcher 3 raises the bar for RPGs to dizzying new heights. With fresh combat, an enormous body of fleshed out quests, and deep, albeit confusing systems for crafting and leveling, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt provides some great gameplay opportunities. However, what it proves most of all is that you can have all the side quests in the world, but it is memorable, believable characters that make a game truly great.
There she is.